Israeli media have reported Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu discussed plans for the complete occupation of the Strip with his security cabinet. When asked, US President Donald Trump declined to say if he supported or opposed a potential Israeli takeover of Gaza. He says he's trying to get more food into Gaza, adding Israel would help with distribution.
As you know, $60 million was given by the United States fairly recently to supply food, and a lot of food, frankly, for the people of Gaza that are obviously not doing too well with the food. And I know Israel's going to help us with that in terms of distribution and also money. We also have the Arab states are going to help us with that in terms of the money and possibly distribution. So that's what I'm focused on. As far as the rest of it, I really can't say. That's going to be pretty much up to Israel.
Alarm was raised at a UN Security Council meeting about the reports of Israel possibly taking control of Gaza. UN Assistant Secretary General Miroslav Jenca warned such a move could have catastrophic consequences.
Mr. President, the latest reports regarding Prime Minister Netanyahu's possible decision to expand Israel's military operations through the entire Gaza Strip, if true, are deeply alarming. This would risk catastrophic consequences for millions of Palestinians and could further endanger the lives of the remaining hostages in Gaza. International law is clear in this regard. Gaza is and must remain an integral part of a future Palestinian state.
Well, for more on this, we're joined now by Geist, Pinfold, who is a lecturer in international security at King's College London. He joins us from London now. Thanks very much for being with us here. First of all, what do you think the consequences are if Netanyahu pushes ahead with this plan to fully reoccupy Gaza? And what do you think he means by a full conquest?
Well, I think he means exactly what he says, Tom. He's talking about basically going full pelt here and taking over all of the Gaza Strip. I think this is a classic Netanyahu balancing act. He's trying to square the impossible circle here. He will be saying to the United States and to the dwindling members of the international community who are still willing to listen to him that this is all a power play. He doesn't mean what he says, but he's trying to put the squeeze on Hamas so they'll come to the negotiating table and do a deal to end this thing. But he will be saying the exact opposite to his far-right coalition partners. He'll be saying, look, you asked for the indefinite and complete occupation of Gaza. I'm going to give you that on a silver platter. Now, we know there is no military or strategic logic for this plan. In fact, Israel's military have come out against this plan. They said that the army is exhausted, that there are no Hamas targets there, and this will endanger Israel's remaining hostages that are held captive in the Gaza Strip. Now, I think it's important to note that the discord between the military and the government is not a debate about war and peace. It's not a debate between hawks and doves. It's a debate between carrying on the current paradigm of ethnic cleansing, which is basically bringing Gaza into a slow and painful death spiral, or to pursue Netanyahu's new plan, which is ethnic cleansing on steroids. No one here is talking about Gaza's civilians, and I think that shows you how far the debate and the discourse has come in Israel, that now we're prepared, that Israel is prepared to talk about making Gaza unlivable and depopulating the Gaza Strip, and to do that in public discourse on a more or less daily basis.
OK, well, let's talk about the Palestinians in Gaza. Israel already controls 80% or somewhere along those lines of the Strip. So how difficult will it be if it does decide to take the rest of it, given that there are 2 million people squeezed into tiny areas now?
Well, it won't be difficult militarily because Hamas has already gone to ground. This is why the military is saying we don't want this operation. It's not like Hamas is hiding in these command and control centers in the remaining 20% of the territory. Hamas throughout Gaza has basically tried to keep a low profile and is continuing to try and keep a low profile. Combat deaths of IDF forces are now very, very low. There's very, very few engagements. So this is not about defeating Hamas. This is a purely political move by Netanyahu to try and give his far-right coalition partners exactly what they want. The military is pushing back, though only to a very, very limited degree, because, of course, it was the military that came up with this plan to occupy 2/3 of the Gaza Strip. But even 2/3 is not enough for Netanyahu's far-right coalition partners. They want the whole territory, and they don't just want to occupy it, they want to annex it and resettle it. Remember, we're coming up to the 20-year anniversary of the disengagement from Gaza, when 11,000 settlers and soldiers were removed from Gaza. The settler movement sees this as a stain on history, and they want to reverse that stain as quickly as possible.
Well, this is all going to come to a head in the coming days. We understand that there is going to be a full security cabinet meeting before the end of the week. As you mentioned, there's huge opposition to this from, especially from within Israel, from former military leaders as well as the families of the captives. What do you think is going to happen in the next few days?
I think in the next few days, Netanyahu will keep doing as he's been doing, and he will do what he pleases. Remember that he's reliant on the far right for his survival, but at the same time, he has more wiggle room than ever before. The Knesset, Israel's parliament, is currently in recess. His corruption trial has been postponed yet again. So Netanyahu feels like he has the ability to say it and to do and to implement these things because he's facing less internal pressure. But the internal pressure is still there from the far right. As I say, coming up to the anniversary of the disengagement, there will be increased pressure, and there is indeed increased pressure from the far right already to do something drastic, to reverse that policy from 20 years ago. So Netanyahu's decision to occupy or proclaim to occupy all of the Gaza Strip might be a way for him to try and preempt that pressure, but it might also be a way for them to throw them a bone. We're just going to have to see how events progress in the coming days.
And just finally and briefly, we heard from Donald Trump, who was, when he was asked about it, he said it is pretty much up to Israel to make this decision. But what do you make of that? Do you think that Trump and the US administration will be ready to stand back, or will they want to see this happen, do you think?
Well, I think that's another way that we can see how Netanyahu feels he has more wiggle room, because the recent talks collapsed. The US actually came out and blamed Hamas. They basically sided with Israel and said this is Hamas's fault. Whether that's true or not, it doesn't matter. What it means is that Netanyahu feels that he is empowered. He's got the US off his back. As I say, he's got the Israeli Knesset off his back. He's got Israeli public opinion off his back. So now he can do exactly what he wants, which is, of course, what his coalition partners want, on whom he is reliant for his survival.
OK, thank you so much, Rob. We'll have to leave it there. We do appreciate your time, though. Rob Geist Pinfold in London.
Thank you.
Don't miss out. Get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news and expert insights. Like, share, stay ahead.